In 2005, a website popped up that allowed you to broadcast yourself to the entire world by allowing you to post videos to this website. It was completely for free. I'm sure you're all familiar with it by this point. And I'm sure that you're also probably well aware that that website is dead. It has been dead for a very long time. It's just a dead horse collecting flies around it. But up to this point, they've just kept beating it. They've been beating it and beating it and beating it for years now. It is a dead horse that they keep beating, but you know what? On December 10th, they've decided that they're going to stop beating it, and they're just going to shoot it in the head. Have you read YouTube's new terms of service? I'm sure that you've heard about it, but in case you haven't, terminations by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all or part of the service if YouTube believes, in its sole discretion, that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. And somewhere in here it says, YouTube is under no obligation to host or serve content. YouTube is under no obligation to host or serve content. Google is not under any obligation to allow you to search things. I think you see the point I'm trying to make. You're taking literally the point of the website, literally the entire point of it existing, and you're getting rid of it. That would be like if Facebook said that you can't post things anymore. Or if what's a website? I'm trying to even think of one. That'd be like if Instagram said that you couldn't post pictures or videos anymore. And it's not even smart financially. Think about it. YouTube is commercially viable in the first place because people watch the videos, and those videos have ads, and those ads bring revenue in part to YouTube and in part to the creator, and very small part to the creator. And that has been an absolute clown show for the past few years, all on its own. But a large part of people going to that and watching it is that they have an account, right? They have an account, and that account remembers what they like and recommends things to them based on that, all of that stuff. Which means that if you get rid of that, if you terminate their channel because they're not commercially viable, then they're probably not going to watch things anymore. I mean, they might, but it's not like they're going to get recommended things that they particularly like to watch that often anymore. So why would they go back? And if they're not going back, they're not watching the ads. And if they're not watching the ads, you're going to go bankrupt. And that's even besides the point of the fact that this is maybe one of the most greedy, soulless corporate things to maybe happen in the past 10 years, at least that I am aware of. They're literally saying, and they word it really nicely, they really do. They really do a great job of taking their diarrhea and making it sound professional. What they're literally saying is, if you don't make us money, get out. You're not welcome here. You're not... If you upload videos and you don't make money off of them, if you don't monetize them, maybe you're non-profit, maybe you just, I don't know, maybe it's a hobby, right? Maybe you like it. Maybe you're passionate about video editing or filmmaking or something along those lines. right? I feel like a fair amount of creators on the platform can say that. I'm sure even creators who do monetize their content sometimes, or most likely a lot of the time, get demonetized and say, you know what, I'm going to post this video anyways. And I'm going to post it anyways, not because that's financially beneficial to me, but because I put a lot of work into it and I want people to see my art. If you upload videos to this site and you're not monetizing them, they're going to kill your channel. They're going to delete it. And you know what? Up until this point, the main reason why YouTube and Google and all the rest of it have continued to thrive despite being potentially some of the worst companies, right? You know, when I talk about beating that dead horse, it's between things like the demonetization and, you know, the website falling apart at the seams, being completely broken. You know what I'm talking about. It is such a broken website. The fact that they tried to, instead of actually fixing their broken website, they add things that literally add nothing and sometimes break the website further, like the mini player or some stupid layout change that literally fixes nothing. That is what I mean by beating the horse, right? Beating the horse. Beating it down until it coughs blood. But you know what? At least the website still fundamentally functioned at the basic level that it is supposed to serve its purpose. You can sign in and upload a video, right? Oh look, it does what it's supposed to. It's like when you buy a broom, you expect it to sweep. Imagine buying a broom and then they say you can't sweep with it anymore. And that is what they're doing to YouTube on December 10th. Up until this point, right? Up until this point, YouTube hasn't been great. It hasn't even been good. Really, the highlight of the website is the considerably large amount of good content creators on it. And the reason why nobody can compete with YouTube, and the reason why they haven't been able to compete with YouTube up until this point, is because so many people are on YouTube that have a following built up on YouTube, right? Content creators like Markiplier, PewDiePie, The Game Theorist, whoever you want. Think of a YouTuber that you watch, right? Someone that you watch regularly. Are they on anywhere other than YouTube? No. All of their videos are on YouTube, and their subscriber count is on YouTube, and they are on YouTube. They're nowhere else. That is why sites like Vimeo and Dailymotion fail to compete with YouTube, because YouTube has such followings. YouTube has millions and millions of creators and millions of individual followings for each of those creators. And we're going to need to start acting fast if we actually want to say that we're not going to put up with this garbage, right? Up until this point, we just let them push us around, but you know what? No. We can't do it anymore. They're literally saying that the key purpose of the website, that you can upload a video and share it with people, is going to be taken away unless it's profitable for them. In other words, they might as well be a TV network, except a lot less professional. You know what we need to do? If you're a content creator, if you create content on this website, and you need to start this right now, right as soon as I'm done talking, go through each and every one of your videos on your channel and save them. If you already have them on your computer or something, great. And make sure that they're backed up on a drive or something. I will link to websites in the description where you can download YouTube videos via a link. Start downloading your videos. Every single one of your videos. Start downloading the thumbnails for your videos. If you want, it might also be helpful to take screenshots of how many views or whatever they have, just so that you can at least isolate, or not isolate, but I guess immortalize what the numbers would have looked like. Make sure that you have all of your content available offline to you. And then either we're going to need to find another website, or we're going to need to build a new one that isn't the complete garbage that YouTube is. They have taken it way too far. And you know what? They've got some damn nerve to try and put something like this after all of the things that have been going on. I was going to make a video today. I was actually going to make a real video today. Like, it would be a fun video that I was going to edit and stuff. And then I find out about this. I find out that they're doing this. Like, things like changing their layout, adding stupid new features, generally harmless. In some cases, not harmless, but for the most part, you know, at least it's not... It is destroying the website, right? But at least the website is still taking, like, some very, very shallow breaths. It's you know, it's like it's got one finger left hanging on to the bar. But it's gonna slip off. And it's gonna slip off fast. And they've just been letting it. They've just been leaving it. And notice how all of these broken things, all of the glitches with YouTube, all of the broken systems like the copyright and the monetization and all of that, it's so broken, right? It's so broken. What have they done about it? What have they done about it? At the very most, maybe they've addressed some of it, but they haven't done anything. No, they'd rather change the icon for adding something to playlists. They'd rather do something that literally adds nothing to the website to distract you. That is what it is. Whether you're happy or annoyed by the changes, annoyed like I am, either way, you think, oh great, they made another useless change, and then that distracts you from the fact that their website is actively falling apart. It's barely hanging on a thread anymore, and they're not doing anything about it. And think about it this way. This is a corporation that is billions and billions and billions, I think in the tens of billions. I'm positive in the tens of billions. Google is in the tens of billions. They are. And YouTube is probably also in the tens of billions, if not the hundreds. They are probably one of the most, if not the most, financially powerful corporations in the world. And they have a website that is breaking apart. Not only a website that's breaking apart, but a website that's breaking apart that millions and millions of people have their livelihoods depending on. And what they're spending their time, money, and resources on doing instead of fixing that website is distracting you so that you don't notice that they're not fixing it. That is what they're doing. And up to this point, they've just had such a monopoly because of what I said earlier with the followings, the exclusivity of it. That's really what makes it popular. That is what makes it thrive. It is the exclusive content that YouTube has from certain content creators, right? You can't go on to Vimeo and watch Markiplier. I mean, there's probably a few videos re-uploaded there, yeah. It's not from his channel, and it's not managed by him. We need to actually change something here, because YouTube sure as hell isn't going to. If there's one thing that they've proved time and time again, it's that they will refuse to listen to content creators, users, any of the above. Even though they pretend to, they have those little things that says, oh, rate this recommendation. Oh, send us feedback. They don't care about your feedback. If they cared about your feedback, then when you turned YouTube Studio off as your default, it wouldn't still set it back to the default. If they cared about your preferences, then they would save your preferences instead of removing preference options, like the option to turn the mini player off. The mini player, which might I add, still actively destroys the player if you use it. If you send the mini player down to the corner and then try to bring it back up, it tries to overlay the UI of the mini player with the normal YouTube UI, and then you can't actually use any of the UI anymore. It is completely broken. It is completely unstable. And not only have they ignored it, they're not just ignoring it. It's not like they don't know about it. They know about these issues, and they are actively trying to sweep them under the rug. And while doing that, on top of that, they have the nerve to start saying things like, if you're not going to be commercially beneficial to us, you can leave. There's the door. There's the door if you're not making us money. And you know what? It's so almost shockingly terrible how unsurprising the whole thing is. We've tried calling them out, right? The YouTube community has called out YouTube time and time again for these issues. They don't listen. We've tried, sending emails to, like, the CEOs and the people at Google. That doesn't work. Now, like, people are getting terminated or suspended or whatever for sending emotes and chats and live streams. It is falling apart. It is falling apart. And, from the outside, right, when you think about it, it doesn't sound like such a huge deal, right? Well, it's a website. It's in a computer. It's on a screen. It can't reach out and touch me, right? Let's just, for example, make an analogy. Just draw an analogy. Because YouTube, for a lot of people, is a job, right? The general joke is that it's not really a job, and in a way that's true, but it is something that people do and put their work into and rely on to give them income, right? So let's draw an analogy and say that you have a city filled with skyscrapers and offices and all sorts of jobs, right? And then imagine that all of those buildings start crumbling to the ground, and nobody bats an eye. And that might sound a little dramatic, but when you think about it, it's really not. YouTube is technically a career. Maybe not the most respectable career, but a career nonetheless, right? People rely on it to be a source of income. Millions of people rely on it for income. It's safe to say that it kind of is a career, right? I guess to draw another analogy, and maybe this is a better analogy, let's flip the tables for a second, play that game, and say that, imagine if instead of YouTube, the website is falling apart and everybody who relies on uploading to YouTube for income is screwed. Imagine if the YouTube headquarters and the Google headquarters were falling apart and everybody who relies on working and developing the website YouTube, great job, by the way, guys, we're all going to lose their jobs. Right? That'd probably be a big deal, right? That is what's happening. Except it's kind of at a larger scale. I'm not entirely sure about this for a fact, but if I had to throw out a guess, I'm going to go ahead and say that there's probably more people uploading to YouTube than there are people working for YouTube. And technically you could say that that's the same thing, but you know what I mean. People who work at the headquarters who, develop the website or moderate it or whatever, what have you, right? They are employed by Google or YouTube officially, as opposed to people who upload to the website and make revenue that way. There are probably more people who upload to the website and make revenue that way. So that means that it's not only the same thing, it's actually a lot worse. And you know what? We need to stop ignoring it. Up to this point, I haven't been ignoring it per se, but I've been ignoring it enough that I feel guilty about it. And I know that it's so easy to say we need to do something, but we actually need to start doing something. I'm going to start downloading my videos, and I'm going to start downloading my thumbnails, and I might take screenshots of the numbers that I have, not because that really matters, just because it might be nice to have something to remember them by. And I'm going to make sure that I have those backed up somewhere. And I'm going to make sure that I have those somewhere where Google cannot lay a single bony, skeletal, corporate, greedy finger on it. Because what they're basically saying is that after how long has it been? 2005, so like 14 years, right? 14 years of YouTube. After 14 years of them building all of this up and allowing everyone, like an open book, to put all of their art in it, almost think of it like a museum. Perhaps a very convoluted museum, but a museum nonetheless. It's filled with people's works and their art, and in a lot of cases, there's history there, like, recordings of 9/11, just to give an example, stuff like that. Gonna delete that if it's not profitable for you, YouTube? All of that, right? 14 years. And 14 years of them advertising it as, it's safe here. You can put it here, and you can sleep soundly knowing that nothing's gonna happen to it. After 14 years of that, after giving people 14 years to put things there and think that it's safe, they're basically saying, nope, not anymore. If you have something there, then, well, sorry. And I'm just at such a loss. I'm at a loss. I don't know what jackass is in charge of making these decisions. If it's Susan Wojcicki, then... God, why? Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Imagine if somebody bought McDonald's and then canceled the Big Mac. And the fries and the drinks. And just left, like, what else does McDonald's have other than Big Mac's, fries, and drinks? And the nuggets. Don't forget the nuggets. Right? Like apple pies. Yeah. Hard, stale, completely unloved apple pies. That's what you have left. That's what you're going to have left on YouTube. And I can't understand why on God's earth they would do this. It's not financially beneficial for them. If anything, it's kind of almost like they're setting themselves up purposely to go bankrupt. It's not... Obviously, I don't think I have to say that it's not good for PR. Do I really have to explain that it's not a good image that they're setting? And the only thing I can possibly think of, for why they might be doing this is maybe, and this is, fairly safe to say is a possibility, after 14 years of putting all of this content onto the internet, it's taking up a scary large amount of space, and they're trying to kind of moderate it so that there's not a whole bunch of garbage there. Kind of like if you're low on space in your disk drive, so you start deleting a bunch of unneeded files, right? But the difference is that they get to decide if your videos are their unneeded files. If that's the case, at least that's a reason. It's not a good reason, and there's such better ways to handle it. Like, for example, A, buy more space, just a thought, you are literally the largest company in the world. B, find videos that are duplicates of other videos, and either create a system that groups them all in together and marks all of the channels that uploaded it as maybe almost contributors, or just straight up delete the other ones until only one of them is left. Because I'm sure that there are plenty of videos on YouTube that have been duplicated hundreds and hundreds of times. And I don't mean when I say duplicates, I don't mean similar, I mean one-to-one the same video. But they don't want to do that, because you know what? That requires effort. It requires effort from a multi-billion-dollar company with, I presume, millions of people actually working for them. And it requires some effort to be put in. Because it definitely wouldn't be really easy when you have literally millions of employees and billions of dollars to just put some damn effort into not killing your own product. And I've been saying for a long time, for a very long time now, at some point YouTube is gonna step way too far over the line. And they're going to do something that is either going to ruin them or is going to force us as content creators to ruin them ourselves and not put up with their garbage anymore. So it's our choice what it's going to be. I'm going to link to different websites and programs. I'm going to try and find at least 10 programs or something like that, you know, just in case YouTube starts taking them down, so that you can download all of your thumbnails, download all of your videos, get all of your content onto your disk, make sure that you have it, make sure that it's safe and that Google can't get at it. Make sure that you have everything off of it, and we need to come up with some kind of solution, a much better place where we can put our content, whether that be maybe going to another website, which sounds kind of like a futile attempt, because, like, look at me, I have maybe 2 active subscribers, or build a website, or find a website, because there are plenty of websites that people have actually tried to do to make basically a better YouTube without all of the garbage on YouTube. And make sure you have all of your videos backed up, especially if you're a small creator. Whether you're a small creator that monetizes their content, or even more so if you don't monetize your content. Get all of it. Even the videos you're ashamed of, just in case, like, 10 years down the line you want to watch them again. Because trust me, that happens. Make sure that you have it all. Make sure that you have it all. If you start running out of space on your computer, go get a hard drive. Trust me, well worth it. Sorry, not a hard... Well, yes, a hard drive. You know what I mean. Because if we don't start backing up our own content and then find a place where we can put it, then it's all going to go. First, it's going to start going because they're going to delete it because it's not commercially viable. But then they're going to realize that this is the worst financial decision that they've made in their life. And they're going to go bankrupt. And they're going to have to get rid of all of it. It's all going to go if this goes through. Whether they want it to or not, even the stuff that's commercially viable for them is going to go. One way or another. And there has to be some kind of way where, as a content creator community, we can all come together and decide on one place where we will put the new content. Because obviously the worst possible outcome of this, and the reason why probably nobody's ever done it in the past, or, you know, tried to but didn't think it through, is because when you have billions of people on one website, then chances are it's gonna be like insanely, inhumanely difficult to get all of them to agree on one place where they can go to. But we've got to try. Or at the very least, keep it to a minuscule amount of different places. You know, kind of like streaming services up into this point, before Google Plus and DC Universe and whatever the hell. Because it's a good analogy, you know? When there was Netflix, and then that was all in one, kind of like what YouTube was for a long time. And then I guess if this happens, there probably will be a few. As much as in an ideal world there would only be one. Then in an ideal world, YouTube wouldn't have their head shoved so far up their ass that they do something like this in the first place. So it's probably going to be more like the situation a few years later with Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, you know. A few, but at least you can count them on one hand, right? And we should keep it to that. Now, I'm just a dumb 15-year-old 10th grader with technically 840-something subscribers, but really I only have about 10. Long story short, obviously, if I do make a difference here, unfortunately, it's probably going to be a very minuscule one. But I'm hoping, holy hell, I'm hoping, with every single atom of my cold, lonely heart, that this spreads. That this spreads like the flesh-eating virus that has spread across YouTube for the past 5 years. And we're not even completely blameless in this situation because, yes, YouTube let all of these things happen. Not only did they let them happen, but they actively tried to hide the fact that they were happening. But we also let it happen. And yes, we've called them out, and yes, we've done all that. But we haven't actually done anything, you know? I mean, I'm sure a few people have tried, but we haven't got a bunch of people to come together to do something. And that's what we need to do. So, it's all or nothing. I don't know how to end this video. So I'm just gonna stop it.